Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Olympic team announcement for Tokyo 2020, being held in 2021 after a crazy and unpredictable year. We are so lucky to have so many resilient athletes on Team USA heading to the Olympics this year. And today, we're going to have a chance to meet some of them as we reveal teams and athletes that will have the spectacular honor of wearing the Team USA kit. I was honored to be a part of the silver medal winning team pursuit squad in London 2012, and it was a life-changing experience for me. So I'm excited to see this next generation of athletes pursuing and achieving their dreams in Tokyo. I know there are a lot of nervous athletes out there, so let's get right into it and see how they react being named to the Tokyo Olympic team. We're going to start by talking with the man that is overseeing our Team USA squad in Tokyo. His name is Jim Miller. He is the Chief of Sports Performance. He was my first real cycling coach, and he is joining us from Colorado Springs today. Jim, how are you, my friend?
I am doing great. Thanks for having me.
You bet. I know you are in full prep mode, so tell me how things are looking for Team USA. Just a mere 42 days out from opening ceremonies, no pressure.
42 days is no pressure. It's here. We're finishing projects. We're wrapping up all our high performance projects that we'll use with the teams, wind tunnel testing, speed suits, final prep, all the above. So it's a very busy time for us.
Obviously, COVID is on top of everyone's mind this year. Many of the athletes we are introducing today have had to restart their qualification process after the postponement in 2020. So first off, how has it affected their preparation, and how have you kept them calm, focused, and really on target for 2021?
Yeah, this has definitely been a unique situation. In most cases, a lot of these athletes haven't raced since the fall of 2019. So we're almost at an 18-month mark without a lot of racing or any racing. I think the amount of times we've hit reset and recalibrate and set new goals and move forward to new targets has been countless. I will say that I think worldwide everybody had the same problem, obviously, or the same challenges. How people handled that was different from person to person, but I think at some point it affected everybody, and both positive and negative. So it's definitely has been a challenging time. But I think in general, we actually came off of COVID in maybe a little bit better shape than we went into it. So for us, I think it's a positive.
That's good to hear. So I want to talk about preparing for what's going to be a very altered competition in Tokyo with no fans in the stands. For many Olympians, I know for me, the huge crowds in London were a huge part of our success, because it really brought, it brings the magnitude up to, about 10, 15 notches. And that's the best motivator for a performer type personality. Are you doing anything to help the athletes cope with what could be a pretty weird experience in empty venues?
Yeah, I would say even just racing right now in general is sort of a weird experience in empty venues, and that spectators haven't been allowed. Mountain bike world, no spectators. We haven't had any track races, so for the most part, our track athletes have been training in an empty velodrome by themselves. Road racing is a little bit different. There have been road spectators. There have been people at venues, not like you would have seen pre-COVID, but certainly not completely quiet. And BMX the same. They're racing right now in front of spectatorless stands and crowds. So I think in general, just the preparation of going through these pre-Tokyo comp events has really been the preparation for competing in front of nobody.
Will the athletes still get to experience some of the, activities outside of competition that, really makes the Olympics so special, like opening ceremonies? What's going to happen with that?
Yeah, so this is going to be, this is unique circumstances. This is going to be a unique Olympics. They get to be part of history, that's for sure. But it won't be an Olympics like you experienced or other athletes have experienced in previous Olympic Games. The entry into Japan is only 8 days prior to your first medal event, and then you have to leave within 48 hours. So and once you enter the bubble, there's no leaving the bubble. So it's not, it's all the extracurriculars that really make that experience what it is will probably be void. But there will be an Olympic Games, and that's probably the marquee event, anyways.
Lastly, I got to say, I remember like it was yesterday after our final ride in London, packing up our backpacks, and we were heading to the podium. And you came over to me and you gave me this huge hug. And having been a part of my journey and all its ups and downs over the previous 12 years, I knew how embedded you were with our success. I mean, I could feel it. When you hugged me, though, you said, "Congratulations." And you said, "I don't know who's more excited, you or me." And I think I stepped back and I said, "It's me, Jim." But how much emotional energy do you put into your athletes? And what does it feel like to you when they find success?
Man, it might as well be your own success when they find success. I think at least my coaching style is I have to be involved, I have to be engaged. If there's not a connection there, then it just doesn't work for me. I'm not a guy that can just look at numbers and be happy with them. So I think when you coach like that, you become really invested in your athletes, and win or lose, you're feeling the same emotion with them. But that's, I think, for me, what makes coaching even more rich than uh, just running teams or being an administrator.
Yeah. Well, you're very good at it, and we're all looking forward to Tokyo. We're going to meet some of the athletes now, so good luck to you and the entire staff, and go Team USA. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our first athlete has had a great run into the Olympics, winning the national championships and now going for gold in Tokyo. Let's meet road athlete Ruth Winder. Ruth, great to see you. Congratulations. It looks like you are headed for Tokyo. How excited are you to be on Team USA?
I'm so excited. Thank you so much. It's just going to be such an honor to wear the Team USA jersey in Tokyo. So excited.
Well, this has been a very patriotic last few years for you, because you got a bonus year in the Stars and Stripes and now headed to the Olympics representing your country. Does it mean a little something extra coming off your national championship?
Um, I'm not sure that it means something more that I'm national champion. The Olympics themselves are so huge. And it's one of those things, right? So many people fight to be national champion, and it's not quite something I ever truly believed I would get. And to have that alone is super, super special to me. And being able to wear it through the pandemic another year, I hope that I've just been able to do the jersey proud a bit more. It's a bit odd to have worn it another year the way that I wore it another year, without yet twice. But yeah, just the Olympics alone are just so special that I think nationals and the Olympics combined are two huge goals, and to achieve them both, I mean, it's really cool.
You've had to keep the hope and the dream and the fitness alive for a whole extra year. Is there anything that you've done this past year to like really up your training game?
I put a lot of time into like my mental fitness. I don't know what my mental game, I suppose, is the right way to put it, as well as my physical. And I think that's been really helpful. I really learned how to like put pressure on myself when I needed pressure on myself, and take it off when I didn't, because I'm an athlete that just wants to do well in every single race. And that just, when we race on the road and you race, 60 times a year, it just is super mentally fatiguing. And I think just really cherry picking my mental preparation helped me be on a little bit better at the races I really wanted to do well in.
Ruth, it's been a bit of a struggle for some staying motivated through this year. What have you been doing? Have you do anything that different besides keeping up your mental game? You know, anything out there on the bike, actual physical training, anything that you've mixed it up a little bit with?
Yeah, last year's particularly was hard to be motivated just with the uncertainty of everything. This year, at the beginning of this year, I felt like there was more certainty, or at least I had an idea of the uncertainty. Last year was like, we don't know anything, how it's gonna go. But then I think just in preparation for the season, just keeping it fun at times, like going and ride my mountain bike when I could, or yeah, going camping with my boyfriend and my dog, things like that. You know, keep it fun. I do a lot of baking, so I like to do stuff like that. But in terms of training itself, I think yeah, just kind of taking those long endurance rides and doing them with friends and enjoying the company again when we were allowed to be in groups of people again was really nice. I didn't realize how much I missed being with friends quite as much. So as soon as we were a little bit more relaxed and could train with some buddies again, then I was kind of going out and enjoying that. And that was a big help, actually, just the community that I kind of felt like everybody lost through the pandemic, and gaining that back a little bit at the beginning of the year has been super helpful for me.
Yeah, it's amazing. I know it's crazy how I'm an introvert as well, which I'm assuming you might be, and I thought everything was fine, and then really getting back and being able to be with people outside, hiking, biking, mountain biking, it changed everything just from just a community standpoint. So, when did you get to do your first group ride back?
Oh, what did I do? I feel like it was when I actually went back to Europe in January, and was kind of with the team again. I had been with the team at the end of last year too, through July, September, August time. So I had been around people then. But yeah, at the beginning of the year, I went back to Europe and Spain, and I was training with the team. So that was really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So this Olympics is going to be a lot different from you, going from the track in 2016 to the road in 2021. Did you learn anything or many things from your track Olympic experience that you think you might apply to the Olympics this time around in your road experience?
I think I've been applying things from my track experience to my road experience ever since it happened. The Olympics are a huge goal and a massive achievement, and there's no denying that at all, but it also really taught me that it's a day and that I have to enjoy the process and have to enjoy all the races that come before that as well. So I've kind of, yeah, since then, just really trying to focus on being my best athlete in all the races that, like I said, that I want to put that mental pressure on myself, and then being my best teammate in all of the races where I have to be that role for my team. And then going into the Olympics, it's kind of the same thing, just understanding that I've been doing all the right steps and making the right decisions for myself to be in the best position, and then putting this pressure on myself for the Olympic Games, to represent the US the best that I can.
Do you have, having had the experience that you have, is there something about this Olympics that you're most excited about?
I think that's such a hard question, because I think that this Olympics is not going to be anything like the last Olympics in so many ways, because of the restrictions that we have due to COVID and everything in the pandemic, which is really sad, actually. Especially, I feel lucky that I do have the previous Olympic experience, because I got to go to the village and experience being in Houston with the team processing, and so many things about the Olympic Games that are really exciting, kind of outside of just the event. So I think this year is just going to be something completely different, because as far as I'm aware, we'll just be in a hotel, and I'm not sure I'll be able to see the village, and there'll be things like that that are just what everybody dreams of the Olympics that won't really exist, which is really sad. But I'm happy that the games are going on, and it's still a chance to represent our country.
Yeah. Well, what do you know about the Tokyo Olympic road course? What kind of course is it, and how do you feel it suits you?
Yeah, I'm hoping it'll be pretty dynamic. Women's road racing lately has been showing to be coming to smaller groups in the finish. There's been a lot of really strong girls. So I hope the course will be kind of suited to that type of a style of race too.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have a country or a couple of countries that you feel like the U.S. team will really have their eyes on? Not naming any of the ladies whose last names start with V.
I think, yeah, I think that almost everybody will be looking towards the Dutch a little bit, but when are they not, to be honest? It's a little shocking when you look at the women in the Dutch team that don't make the team, the Dutch riders that don't make the team, and you're like, oh no, okay. Yeah, so I think, but there's been quite a strong, I mean, my teammate on my trade team, Lizzie Dagnan, she's super strong, she's British, they have a good team. Yeah, I think there's a couple of really strong countries, like I said a minute ago, with it can come down to that bunch of a really reduced bunch, maybe 10 girls. Like there's quite a few good ones to watch.
Exciting. Well, good luck. Congratulations on all of your success, and good luck. We're going to be cheering from the rooftops.
Thank you.
Ruth will have a powerhouse team alongside her in Tokyo. The women's road team also includes Chloe Dygert, Amber Neben, Corinne Rivera, and Leah Thomas. The men's team will field just 2 riders, with Lawson Craddock and Brandon McNulty both racing the road race and the time trial. Next up, we're moving to mountain bike. This team has so many stars, and we are really lucky to get some time with one of them. So now let's meet Kate Courtney. Well, hey, Kate. First of all, congrats on the selection to the Olympic team. I know you've known for a little while, but I'm sure it still feels so good to hear.
Absolutely. Hi, it's great. It's great to connect with you. And yeah, certainly feels more real by the day.
Well, you've had some really big wins that, have not only probably meant so much to you, but truly have meant a lot to the country. Let's start with your World Championships 2018 win, the first American woman in 16 years to win and wear the rainbow stripes. Mountain biking was, kind of in a golden era here in the U.S. back then. So do you feel like you're creating a new era for the sport here in the U.S. with your success?
Well, I certainly don't take credit for that, but I think we definitely are entering a new era. I think especially on the women's side, we've just had more depth of talent and more women racing at the front. And I think with every successive person that kind of makes it to the front of the elite field, we have more and more women saying, maybe I could do that, and working really hard to make that a reality.
Kate, tell me about your choice to go to Stanford and graduate. From what I understand, you had your first pro contract as a freshman in college. So was that decision tough?
For me at the time, it was an easy decision. When I started as a freshman, I was racing in the U23 division and was really just starting my professional cycling career. It certainly got more challenging as the years went on, and I started to see international success and wondered what it would be like to have a few more hours of training time every week. But I think for me, it really was, one, a big life goal and dream of mine, but also kind of the perfect thing to hold me back just that little extra bit to really develop as an athlete before I was able to do it full time, handle that pressure, and rise to the challenge of a bigger training load.
Yeah. It seems like family is a really big part of your success, like it is for so many of us athletes. You grew up riding bikes with your dad, and gosh, that picture of your mom in 2018 at Worlds is like unforgettable. It's one of my faves. How important has your family been and those relationships been in keeping you going in your career, especially this last year?
Absolutely. My family is a huge, huge part of what I do. Initially, growing up, they were part of it, driving me to races, packing my bike for races, especially in college. But I think now for me, it's really special to see that my parents in particular choose to be a part of my cycling career. My dad loves to train with me, and my mom will kind of cook for team camps. And the both of them are a huge part of what I do. So it will be a little bit unfortunate not to have them there in Tokyo, but in this build-up, I've been able to spend so much time with my family and my fiance Will out training and preparing for the game. So it's really, really special to share the journey with them, and I know that when I'm lining up, they'll be right there with me in spirit.
Yeah, you mentioned Will. You got engaged in February, so you're growing your family. And in addition to all the craziness of racing in this whole Olympic prep and the pandemic, what do you guys have some plans, or are you going to wait and plan everything after Tokyo?
Yeah, we're pretty focused on the Olympics right now, but definitely will be a fun thing to refocus on after the games. But for me, I think it was really special to be able to have that moment and, have that sense of commitment heading into this big event for me. Will has really been my partner at every step. He's stayed in shape to be able to train with me on the weekends or just kind of, cheer me on, especially through this last year, and keep me really focused on that big goal. So having him as a partner in doing that, and then being able to, plan our wedding hopefully after the games are over, is something really exciting and special to look forward to.
Kate, you've known that you're going to Tokyo for a while because you automatically qualified, but was it still a sense of relief, really, when you found out, when you knew that it was definitely going to happen? Because it's you never know till you know.
Absolutely. I think my biggest goal for this Olympic Games, or my first biggest goal, was to qualify automatically. In 2016, I didn't make the team, and that really set my sights on hitting one of those automatic selection criteria for the 2020 Games, which I was able to do in 2019. But it feels like a very long time ago. So I think the first relief was just knowing that they had postponed rather than canceled the games, and that USA Cycling was going to honor the automatic selections. But I think for me as an athlete, my goal is to earn that spot every time I compete. And so it was really, I think, a special moment when Haley automatically qualified at Alvstad. I was fourth, she was third. We kind of solidified that we both deserve those spots. And for me, I think that was a good moment to, reaffirm that I am on very good form heading into this Olympic season. That being said, having that automatic selection criteria means I did not have to peak for those races, and again, can really just focus on being at my absolute best in July. And I think for me, that's a huge advantage and something that has allowed us to approach this year very differently.
Can you tell me what you're most excited about heading into the games? Could be anything, doesn't have anything to do with mountain biking, or maybe it has everything to do with it.
Sushi. No, I think for me, again, this last year has really helped me to clarify my goals. I think the Olympics is wrapped up in so much beyond competition. It's the family aspect. It's, all the kind of fanfare, representing your country, getting some awesome swag. Like, there's so many elements to what it means to go to the Olympics. And all of those things are a very important and exciting piece of the experience. But when we didn't get the opportunity to compete in 2020, I think it really solidified for me that what I'm most looking forward to in the games is racing my bike. Like, I love to race my bike. I love to compete, and it's an opportunity to compete at the absolute top level and on a stage that, I have never been on before. So I think for me, it's really appreciating that.
Yeah. So lastly, real quick about the course, do you know much about the course? How does it suit you? Is it punchy? Is it long climbs? What's the finish going to be like? Let us know.
Yeah, the mountain bike course is very exciting. It's one of the most beautiful and brutal courses I've ever seen. It's super well designed, very rocky, very technical, but with very short, steep climbs. So it'll be a pretty explosive, punchy course, but one that will be very demanding, and I think produce a very deserving winner.
Sounds good for you, I think, my friend.
I hope so. The harder, the better.
Exactly. You're going to do great. We're all cheering for you. It's just so exciting. Congratulations again. And I know you're going to do us proud. Good luck. Here's the rest of our mountain bike squad for Tokyo. Joining Kate will be Haley Batten and Chloe Woodruff, and our men's representative will be Christopher Blevins. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll meet some of our BMX superstars, so stick around.
I'm training for my 6th Olympics. More than ever before, I have to work hard to stay in shape. I run, I lift, I do yoga. That means sore knees, sore back, sore everything. KT Tape helps me push past the pain.
Used by athletes around the world and at home, just like you. KT Tape relieves the pain of aching muscles and joints. Perform at your best. Easy to apply. Use it for many common injuries. KT Tape. Train longer, finish stronger.
KT Tape works for me, it'll work for you.
This is Athletic Greens, an all-in-one daily health drink with all the superfoods, vitamins, and minerals your body needs in one delicious and nutritious formula. Just mix, drink, and get ready to feel amazing. With 75 high-quality ingredients to support your energy, immune system, gut health, and overall performance. Athletic Greens is your new healthy habit and the best way to kickstart your day.
Welcome back. We have just met our road and mountain bike teams, and now it's time to meet the squad for BMX. There are 2 BMX competitions this year, freestyle and racing, and we're going to start with one of our racing athletes. He was 7th in London and won gold in Rio. So starting his 3rd Olympics, let's welcome Connor Fields. Well, hi, Connor. Congratulations. You just made your 3rd Olympic team.
Wow, sounds crazy when you say that.
Yeah, it's pretty epic. It's very epic. Obviously, though, this is the most unique run-up, if you will, to the Olympics that we've had in our lifetime. Tell me how this round of the Olympics is different from Rio or London for you.
Yeah, it was funny as we kind of got into this Olympic qualification process. I felt really good about my previous experience, having gone through 2 Olympic cycles, and I was kind of going into it like, you know, I've got the experience. There's really nothing you could throw at me that I haven't seen. I've been through it all, but I didn't have pandemic and postponement on my bingo card, so that was a new one. So yeah, I mean, just like with everything, it's been completely different. But I've always felt that as an athlete, part of what makes successful athletes successful is their ability to adapt and overcome when things come up. So for me, it was all about, if there was a challenge, figuring out how to solve it, or, you know, overcome whatever was being thrown at me.
And is it true too that you had a planned and then canceled, I guess, rescheduled wedding, and you're also graduating in 2020 from UNLV?
Yeah, so I actually did end up graduating from college last year. Unfortunately, it was a virtual ceremony, so I didn't get the robe and I didn't get to walk and throw my hat and all that fun stuff. But graduating from college was really cool. And yeah, I was supposed to get married in October last year. I had planned to take a bit of a break after the Olympics and get married and go on my honeymoon and do all that fun stuff. But it was, unfortunately, we had to postpone it just due to everything that was going on. And then now we're trying to work on rescheduling, but it's quite hard because there's so many people who had to postpone their weddings, as well as all the people that are getting married this year. Anyway, so we've had a bit of a challenge getting it rescheduled, but hopefully we can find a date soon.
Awesome. I would imagine that this whole lead up has been, you know, kind of more of a mental mind bender, right, than really so much physical. And I read on the USA Cycling website that if you could tell your younger self something, if you were to go back in time, that it would be take a deep breath and relax. Has that been kind of your main vehicle working through this whole past, whatever, 13 months?
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with you. It's definitely been more of a mental challenge than physical. I've always found the physical side of the sport to be relatively easy. It doesn't mean that I don't work. It doesn't mean that I don't have to, you know, put a lot of work in. But that part isn't what's challenging. Getting up in the morning, eating healthy, and going and putting in hours on the bike or in the gym, that's always something that's come easy to me. But mentally ramping up for an Olympic Games and what it takes, mentally, emotionally, it's hard. It's taxing, and to ramp up in 2020 and to go through that training block in the winter, thinking, all right, this is it. This is the big one. This is it. This is, you know, you've been working towards this, and then to find out, oh, just kidding, it's going to be another year. That was the hardest thing. Just kind of finding that motivation every day to keep working and starting from scratch essentially with Olympic prep. But yeah, it's been something that, like I said, it's new for everybody. But I've just tried to really just take it one day at a time and continue to develop as an athlete and find areas to improve. But as far as taking a deep breath, when I was younger, I just used to think that every single race was the end of the world. And if I won this race, it was going to make my life. If I lost it, life was over. And I just was really kind of too emotionally attached to every single day. And now that I'm older, I realize whether you win, whether you lose, the sun's going to come up tomorrow. And there's always going to be another race. So it's just a little bit of a different, I guess, more mature mentality that I didn't have when I was a bit younger.
I want to talk about BMX and a little bit about how you got started. I read that it really got started when your mom found a flyer about BMX racing. Yeah. And I started my road career when I found a flyer to do the California AIDS ride down the coast and just fell madly in love with it. What do you remember learning during those very early years that you still apply today?
I just remember how much I loved riding my bike, right? Like I enjoyed racing and I enjoyed going to the track and racing, but I would get home from school and the first thing I would do is grab my bike, grab my little wooden ramps and catch air. I would ride down to go get some food, or I would ride to my friends' houses. I was always on my bike every day and I just loved it. I realized at a young age I was very competitive and I liked to win and I didn't like to lose. And so I always kind of had to juggle my enjoyment of how much I loved the sport, but also how intense I was competitively. And so I feel like racing was such a perfect avenue for me because I could do both of those things. I could love riding my bike, but at the same time I could compete. And it was kind of a perfect mix of the two. And, you know, that competitiveness that was in me when I was 7, 8, 9, 10 years old is still there. It's a little more controlled, I would say, at this age, but I still hate losing. So.
Oh, well, congratulations. This has been a real treat to steal some of your time. Thanks for joining us right smack dab in the middle of training. Good luck. We are going to be screaming from the rooftops for you. Go for another gold.
Thank you very much. Back to work.
Yeah. Oh, I just love Connor's attitude. He'll be joined by Corbin Sherraw to round out our men's squad, and Team USA will field 3 women: Peyton Ridenour, Felicia Stansel, and Elise Willoughby. So now that we've met the racing side of BMX, let's go to the exciting new discipline of freestyle BMX. We are lucky enough to be joined today by Paris Venegas. She has been world champion and will be one of 2 women representing the U.S. in freestyle BMX. Paris! Well, congratulations, BMX freestyle superstar. It looks like you're going to Tokyo.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Dream come true. I'm so excited.
Where does this rank for you? Is it the obvious top, or tell me where this ranks in your career highlights, because you have a lot.
This is definitely one of the top. I never thought that it was going to be a possibility as a kid because it was never an option, and now that it is, I found out about it and I just dove head in, and oh my gosh, literally it's the top. It's the top. Yeah.
Tell me what you felt like in 2018 when you found out that BMX freestyle was added to the Olympic program.
It was motivating to me because I, at that point, had never competed in the World Cup series. So that was my first year of actually diving in and deciding this is what I want to do. I quit my day job and went full in, training, competing, everything, just to make this, have the opportunity of making this dream a reality.
Yeah. Every young lady is looking up to you and your teammates and wants to emulate you and be like you one day. What would you say to them in their training journey, in their development right now? Let's say they're tiny like you were when you started with your brother. What would you say to them?
Something I would tell them is to have fun. That's like the main thing in our sport, is just to have fun and to not worry about what older boys have to say. They're going to try to beat you down, but you just have to keep going. because I mean, you're willing to do anything and everything you put your mind to. Like, you're fully capable of it. Just keep following your dreams.
When you started, you have had your brother, your whole family is extremely important to you. I've seen interviews you talk about that they lift you up, they're your backbone, and especially your brother Tyler, who did he teach you BMX freestyle as a little tot?
Oh, yeah. I was always trying to follow him in his footsteps and asking him to drag me to the skate park. And he is the one that has taught me just about everything like that I know when I was younger, as far as like the bike control and believing in myself and him believing in me. It just gives me the motivation and like the fact that I know that no matter what, I can come in dead last, I can be on the top of the podium, and he's going to have my back. He's the first person I call after every competition, whether I get first, whether I get last, and I just talk about my run. And when I won Worlds, he was literally the first. I got off the podium and I called him and it was like, guess what? Like, FaceTime my nephews. And yeah, it's having that bond and having this thing in common with him is just, it keeps me going. And I have so much fun riding with him and my nephews and my niece when I go back home. Like, yeah, they're my backbone.
Speaking of family, I remember like it was yesterday standing on the Olympic podium. And one feeling that I had, besides immense, incredible relief, you know that feeling, was I didn't think I belonged up there by myself. You know, there was no way I would have made it without the love and the support and the grittiness and just sticking by me through every single second from my husband. It sounds like your brother has been that to you. So when you are on that top step, I know you're going to want to drag your brother, your brother Tyler up there with you. What do you feel like is going to be going through your head when you're standing on the Olympic podium about your family and that backbone that has been with you throughout your whole career?
I'm definitely going to wish that I could drag them all up there with me and to share that special moment, because even when they don't know that they are my motivation, they are. And the fact that they have pushed me to be a better rider, a better person, and just through this whole process, like, they have been such a big part of that I would not be able to be there without them. And it would mean the world if I could just drag them along there with me. But I know that they're going to be celebrating just as much as they watch. So that warms my heart to know that they're going to be my biggest cheerleaders, and I'll probably I wish that I could hear them from Japan, but
Paris, I remember in my journey, I got injured quite a bit, especially in my back. And we spent 3 months in Mallorca, Spain, right before we went to London in 2012. And the coaches were incredible. Just the support and just the lifting up and infusing confidence that, you know, can get through whatever it is. Neil Henderson and Ben Sharp and my teammates, of course, were incredibly supportive. Tell me about freestyle BMX. And I know you have had some back injuries too, bulging disc in 2018 and have hurt your ankle. Tell me about that journey with USA Cycling and how incredibly supportive they've been to lift you up and, you know, infuse you with confidence that you can get through these injuries and still shine.
USA Cycling has backed me literally from day one, to where 2018, when I bulged a disc in my back, the first thing, Jamie Staff approached me and said, "Hi, I'm Jamie Staff. I'm high performance director for USA Cycling. Let me know when you get back to San Diego and we'll get your back worked out." At that point, I wasn't on the team yet, but they took me in and just supported me from day one. And that showed me just so much appreciation for them and how they'll bend over backwards for their athletes. And from that day forward, it's been amazing. Like, I just recently hurt my ankle a few months ago and tore ligaments. And the first thing that they did was get me on the phone with one of their head doctors, got an MRI. And from that day forward, we started rehab. And yeah, just backed me up the whole time, told me every single day, like, it's okay, we will get through this. It was never like a you'll get through this. It was a we. It's been a we thing from day one, and they've supported me from then, and that just gives me so much more motivation to be knowing that I'm not in this alone. I have this amazing team behind me.
Well, we're wishing all the luck in the world to Paris. She will be joined by Hannah Roberts in women's freestyle BMX, fresh off her world championship win. And on the men's side, our freestyle BMXers are Justin Dowell and Nick Bruce. All right, we're going to take one more short break before we move to our final team, the track team. We've saved the best for last, but I'm a little biased. We'll be right back.
Global clothing consumption has doubled in the last 15 years. We can change that.
When we buy better, we can wear longer.
I first started using the Normatec boots, and trying the Hypervolt and the Venom back is absolutely critical to my recovery and my ability to hit it just as hard the next day.
Welcome back. We are down to our final Olympic selection announcement, the track team. This program has brought so much success over the last 8 years, so we are really excited to see what Tokyo 2020 holds for them. We're going to talk to an athlete who much of the team will be leaning on for support. She was part of the silver medal winning team pursuit squad in Rio in 2016. Let's welcome Jen Valente. Well, hey, Jen, welcome back to Team USA. You going to the Olympics again. How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm very excited.
Good. Well, this is kind of a special interview for me because team pursuit was my discipline at the 2012 London Games, and women's team pursuit has been such an important part of USA Cycling's success at the Olympics. So I hope you realize the impact that you're making on women's racing here in the US by being one of the most successful Olympic units out there.
Yeah, definitely coming together, going in with very high expectations, but also going in with a team event. And so having 5 girls all on the same page with the same goal, I think is a really special opportunity.
What can you tell us about the squad? How has training been going? What are the times like? All the geeky things I want to ask. I want to get into gears too, but tell me how everybody's just doing, generally speaking, right now.
Yeah, a lot of ups and downs over the last year with definitely with the postponement of the Olympics. And I think that every member of our team has really tried to make the most of the situation and really worked on all of their weaknesses. Since the beginning of this year, we've actually all been together for the first time, training together, having all the members of the team working in and integrating with each other. And so we're really kind of fine-tuning the little things right now.
Yeah. Tell me about gearing. I'm dying to know. What are you guys riding now? Because I know it's much larger than what we were riding. The progression has just been incredible. And what are you guessing? I know you won't know till you get there, but guessing what you might be riding in Tokyo.
Yeah, the progression with gearing, the same, as the speeds go faster, the gearing also goes up. And I think that every year the team pursuit has been around from when the event was first created. You were part of some of those first team pursuit teams, and every year since then, it has really stepped up to another level. And even being part of the team in Rio through now has really just continued that faster progression. And we're riding bigger gears. We have different equipment. We're going faster, and we have very high expectations.
So I know that you and the team and the bond you have must have really leaned on each other during COVID and during that year. Did you guys have any unique ways to keep the team bond strong?
Definitely just, checking in on each other. I think, throughout this year, we were not all together for the whole year. A lot of us were in other states or even some of the girls were out of the country. and really just communicating and making sure that everyone was was okay in their situation and moving forward, and definitely looking forward to the day that we were all in Colorado Springs together at some of the first camps where we could all integrate straight away and be on the same page.
I know that you're something of a leader for the Team Pursuit squad, and the squad, as always, has a variety of personalities on it. How do you keep everyone on the same page and working towards the same goal?
Yeah, definitely, everyone has a pretty varying level of experience, both with track cycling and with Team Pursuit, and really kind of just trying to use each person to the best of their abilities, both personality-wise and, on the bike, the strengths and the weaknesses. Everyone has good days and bad days, and just lifting people up when they need it, and then each person has the opportunity also, to be that leader and to be the person that's having a good day, and to kind of really come together each and be on the same page as a team.
The staff that works so hard behind the scenes is always so incredible, making this all happen. Tell me about Gary Sutton and his support, and having his support and his presence over these last years.
Yeah, as with any Olympic team, there's so much more that goes into our program besides the riders that actually take the track on race day. That includes, all of the USA Cycling staff or the USOPC staff behind the scenes, but also the other athletes, that have been training with us for the last 5 years leading up to this, that were in all the qualification races and in the training camps. And really kind of just the whole program as a whole, the success is everyone's. And Gary Sutton has been, instrumental in keeping us together and pushing us and really trying to get the best out of each of us individually in order to basically get the best out of the team.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Jen, you're competing in 3 events. So Team Pursuit, like we've been talking about, but also the Omnium and then the Madison with Megan, which really some of it is very different styles of training. Talk to us about your training over the last 6 months. I mean, what does a typical day look like?
Yeah, the track events are very different on race day, but a lot of the training can complement each other. And being a very good team pursuiter, definitely translates to being good in general, both in the Omnium and the Madison. So a lot of variety, there's track work, there's time on a road bike, there's time in the gym, there's time on a watt bike, and kind of just taking all the pieces and really putting them together to create a good athlete on race day.
So what advice are you giving the first-time Olympians on your team? There's so much to take in. Is there anything that you've been telling teammates to specifically focus on or enjoy when they get to the games?
I think this is a very unique Olympics. In a lot of advice that Chloe or myself may have had for the other members of our team a year ago or 2 years ago has kind of shifted even a little bit, because each Olympics is different, and we knew that going in. But I think Tokyo will be even more different, with different restrictions and different precautions in place with the pandemic. And then also with the velodrome being so far away from the Olympic Village, I think it will be entirely a new experience for every member of our program.
Yeah. What do you think the feeling is going to be like in the velodrome during the race? It was incredibly loud is an understatement in London, because they're crazy for track cycling there. And I'm sure it was wild and wonderful and loud in Rio. But I don't even know if there'll be a quarter of the seats filled. How are you guys preparing for such a big, important pressure event when it could be really rather quiet inside?
Yeah, I think it all comes down to focusing on the riding and really just honing in on our event and what we can do to prepare for that. And the environment of the track itself is not really something we can control. And we've talked through all the scenarios that it could be, or the noise, or the heat, or the humidity, or the fans, or transportation, and all these things that are going to come up when we're there. But I think at the end of the day, it comes down to what we can do on the track and the race itself. And so really just focusing on, our event.
Yeah. Focus on the controllables. Well,
Yes.
we're so excited to cheer for you guys, and we'll see you there. We will be cheering very loudly from all of our couches, and just go do USA proud. I know you will.
Thank you so much.
Jen will lead the women's track team with teammates Chloe Digert, Maddie Godby, Megan Jestrab, Emma White, and Lily Williams. The men will field 2 riders with Adrian Hegvari and Gavin Hoover racing in the Madison. Gavin will also take on the Omnium. Well, that is Team USA for Tokyo 2020. What an incredible group of athletes. Before we go today, though, we want to welcome one last guest, USA Cycling's CEO, Rob DeMartini. Rob, thanks for joining us.
Dotsie, thanks to let me be with you on such an exciting day.
Yeah, we sure have met some extraordinary athletes today. I know you're really proud of your team and your staff. So tell me, what have you seen from Team USA athletes over this last year that has inspired you?
I'm sure there are lots of individual stories, but the main thing I'd like to stress is, a year ago when we named the long team, I don't think Tokyo had yet been delayed. And I watched these athletes cycle through the disappointment of having to wait, but then very quickly shifting into a commitment that we would go to Tokyo stronger a year later. I've watched them train from a distance. I've seen how hard they've worked. I've seen how much they've dealt with disruption in schedules and travel and COVID and everything. And I can say, honestly, we're delivering a team this year that is stronger than the one that would have gone a year ago. And because of that, I'm incredibly proud of them.
I know these athletes are going to empower a lot of young riders. Where does this Olympic team fit into USA Cycling's mission?
Dotsie, they sit at the heart of it. We champion cycling is driven by this country doing well at the highest levels of the sport. And there's no higher level than the Olympic team. So while we serve all cyclists, from people that are just taken off the training wheels to Saturday and Sunday morning riders to the most elite athletes in the world, it's all driven by the success of Team USA and the examples they set for us of what's possible in the sport. So they really are the very heart of our We Champion mission.
Well, is there anything you want to say to our Team USA athletes as they get ready to head over to Tokyo?
Well, a couple things. First of all, this is my first time as the CEO through this cycle. I'm sorry I won't be joining them firsthand, but obviously, some of their parents can't go. It's just a time for us to put only people there that are really going to help them perform. But I'm proud of how they got here. I'm proud of the way they demonstrated real perseverance over the last year and how hard they've worked to see their dreams come true. And we're behind them. We're rooting for them. And we can't wait to see what they do on the track and on the road and on the dirt and everywhere they compete.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Rob. We're looking so forward to our success in Tokyo and USA Cycling's continued success in getting more people on 2 wheels. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Dotsie.
Wow, we are super excited about the team this year. We're on track for another really awesome Olympic performance by Team USA. Don't forget you can watch all the action on NBC or streaming on Peacock. I know I'll be cheering them on every second of the way. Thanks for being with us today. I'm Dotsie Bausch saying goodbye for now and go Team USA.